You know what we need more of? Sexy horrors. It tends to be the thriller genre that's blessed with the prefix of erotic, but there is something natural and animalistic about the way that sex and horror go together, even if it usually lies beneath the surface, or is just the cue for hot young folks to be murdered. Werewolves and vampires have long had sexual undercurrents, typified by the intimacy of transformation into something unhuman, but there's something to be said for horror that takes on sexual themes without getting into the supernatural. It's not particularly sophisticated, but Bone Lake makes for an interesting go at sexy horror. In all honesty, it could have gone further with its sexiness, and at times feels a little too restrained for its own good. Still, it takes a fun quasi-home-invasion setup and makes for an enjoyable ride, bolstered by a thoroughly entertaining pair of villains. What is Bone Lake about?
Sage and Diego are on their way to a secluded mansion by the lake, where Diego hopes to propose. Sage is a writer, and Diego has just packed in his teaching job to have a go at writing a novel, and there's a simmering tension between them. They get to this lavish mansion, have sex that is less than satisfying for her, and then find a hot young couple in the foyer. In barbarian fashion, it would seem that this Airbnb has been double booked. So Sin and Will, the brazen young things that they are, suggest that they share the place. Sage and Diego are those mopey, mousy types that go along with things when they totally shouldn't, and can never quite muster the courage to tell people what they're really feeling. So they reluctantly agree. At first, all seems well. Sin and Will are pretty forward, and are framed as so obviously hotter, funner, and more liberated than Sage and Diego. But then they start cornering the other couple when each is alone and striking up conversations with them that pry too far into their personal lives. Within the space of a day, Sin and Will have dug deep into Sage and Diego's psyches and don't have to work hard at instilling insecurities and driving the couple apart. But what's the catch? Why would these random strangers put so much effort into ruining someone else's relationship? All is revealed as the movie goes on.
Bone Lake is dominated by a brilliant villainous duo.
Bone Lake isn't heavy or particularly meditative with its themes of sexual repression, mismatched couplings, and people's absolute failure to efficiently communicate with each other, but it gives us just enough to pad out an amusing framework and make us wonder where it's all headed. Sage and Diego make for mediocre protagonists who seem like decent enough people, but are frustrating in their lack of straightforwardness. Scene after scene throws us instances in which they should just stand up and walk out, or turn the tables and inquire just why the hell Sin and Will would care to know such intimate details. Their complacency in a weird situation is what makes them ripe for the picking, but the movie at least gives them some growth as it progresses. Sage and Diego make for mediocre protagonists who seem like decent enough people, but are frustrating in their lack of straightforwardness. Scene after scene throws us instances in which they should just stand up and walk out, or turn the tables and inquire just why the hell Sin and Will would care to know such intimate details. Their complacency in a weird situation is what makes them ripe for the picking, but the movie at least gives them some growth as it progresses. Alex Rowe and Andra Nechita as Will and Sin are the absolute highlights here. They are everything you could want out of a slick, psychological horror villain. Sexy, smooth, and hilarious. They are just so damn sure of themselves, and look so good while they're at it, that you can't help but like them. And next to the very ordinary Sage and Diego, they have a magnetic quality. I'm not saying I wanted the villains to come out on top, but I wouldn't be mad if there were a sequel. There are one or two particular sequences where not very much is happening, but Roe and Nechita inject such personality into these little moments that really draw you into their orbit. They keep the pace and the energy of the whole movie up. It wouldn't be anywhere near as entertaining or as compelling without them. Meanwhile, the gore that bookends the majority of the story is fun for splatter fans. There isn't a lot of it, but it goes for the low blows and diversifies beyond traditional stabbings. It all seems very on brand for director Mercedes Bryce Morgan, whose previous works have shown a proclivity for horror with a sexual edge. I'm liking what I see from her and hope that she can go full pelt next time and give us something as energetically heightened as Basic Instinct. More sex, more splatter, more intrigue. Bone Lake demonstrates a visual style that hasn't quite been fully unleashed yet, so I look forward to the day when Morgan allows a movie to be absorbed in its own aesthetic character and delivers a real knockout viewing experience.